What is Sexual Harassment by Jennifer Case. Hello. Today I'm going to be speaking with you a little bit about sexual harassment, what it is, how to tell if conduct is unwelcome or unwanted, how to respond if you're harassed, and what's the next step if you're harassed, and who to report it to. What is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment is defined as sexual harassment at work occurs whenever unwelcome, unwanted conduct on the bias of gender affects the person's job. It is defined by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or the EEOC, as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal, physical conduct of a sexual nature. The U.S. Supreme Court has simplified matters by somewhat explaining that there are two basic types of unlawful sexual harassment. The first type of harassment results in a tangible employment action. An example would be a supervisor who tells a subordinate that he or she must be sexually cooperative with a supervisor or he or she will be fired, and who is then indeed does fire the subordinate for not submitting to the request. This imposition of crude, put out, or get out bargain is often referred to as quid pro quo, which means this for that. This kind of unlawful sexual harassment can be committed only by someone who can effectively influence employment actions such as firing, demoting, or denial of promotion that will affect the victimized employee. A second type of unlawful sexual harassment is referred to as hostile work environment. Unlike quid pro quo, which only a supervisor can impose, a hostile work environment can result from the gender-based, unwelcome conduct of supervisors, co-workers, customers, vendors, or anyone else with whom the victimized employee interacts on the job. The behaviors that have contributed to a hostile work environment include unfulfilled threats to impose a sexual quid pro quo, discussing sexual activities, telling off-color jokes, unnecessary touching, commenting on someone's physical attributes, displaying sexually suggestive pictures, usually demeaning or inappropriate terms such as baby, honey, sugar, using indecent gestures, sabotaging a victim's work, engaging in hostile physical contact, granting job favors to those who participate in consensual sexual activity, using crude, offensive language. These behaviors can create liability only if they are on the affected employees based on the affected employee's gender and are severe or pervasive. As explained in the next section, nonetheless, even if unwelcome conduct falls short of legal violation, employees have a moral and organizational reasons as well as legal incentives to address and correct the problem at the earliest stages. This conduct constituting sexual harassment is not always sexual in nature. Is it really sexual harassment? Hostile environment cases are often difficult to recognize. Some questions you can ask yourself to figure out if it is really sexual harassment is the verbal or physical behavior of a sexual nature? Is the conduct offensive to the person who witnesses it? Is the behavior being initiated by only one of the parties who has power over the other? Does the employee have to tolerate that type of conduct in order to keep his or her job? Does the conduct make the employee's job unpleasant? If you answered yes to any of those questions, you are more than likely a victim of sexual harassment. How you can tell if conduct is unwelcomed? Conduct is unwelcome if the recipient did not initiate it and regards it as offensive. Some sexual advances, come here baby, give me some of that, are also crude and blatant that the advance itself shows unwelcomeness. In a more typical case, however, the unwelcomeness of the conduct will depend on the recipient's action to it. Respond appropriately. when you encounter sexual harassment. If you experience sexual harassment or witness it, you should make a report to the appropriate official. Do not wait. You don't have to report the incident to the immediate supervisor first. You can report it to whatever official is designated in your company, or you can even call the EEOC to report it. Can a sexual harassment occur without physical touching or a threat to the employee's job? Yes. The nature of sexual harassment may be purely verbal or visual, such as pornographic photos or graffiti on workplace walls. And it does not have to involve any job loss. Any non-sexual but gender-based conduct that creates a work environment that a reasonable person would consider hostile may be considered sexual harassment. The do's and don'ts of sexual harassment. You always want to admit that a problem exists. Tell the offender specifically what you find offensive. Tell the offender that his or her behavior is bothering you. Say specifically what you want or don't want to happen, such as please call me by my name and not honey, or please don't tell that kind of joke in front of me. I do not like it. Don't ever blame yourself for someone else's behavior unless it is truly inoffensive. Don't choose to ignore the behavior, and don't try to handle any severe recurrent harassment problem by yourself. Always get help. That is why the EEOC is out there, to protect us as employees. Sexual harassment has time limits. The time limit to file sexual harassment charges is 180 days. For federal employees, you have 45 days to contact an EEOC. For further information about sexual harassment and how to report it, contact the EEOC at www.eeoc.gov for more information, or call 1-800-669-4000. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you today regarding sexual harassment, and I hope that you will take heed to everything that I said and report it immediately if you should have any problems or feel that you're involved in sexual harassment. Don't wait, report it today.